We're back, another episode of Mostly Superheroes here in the studio in St. Louis, Missouri, in the basement. Scotty Scoop, I'm Logan. We got Sam the Dungeon Master, Sam the DM, back for round 3, another live show, another brunch, and Dungeons and Dragons. Enjoy the show. Yeah, back again. Mostly Superheroes. 5 years on this podcast. We just had our anniversary just last month, and this episode is a special treat for you, Dungeons and Dragons fans, and beyond, because as we've learned, there's a new way to interact with D&D in a live theater presentation, essentially, with a brunch, a nice venue, and you're going to hear about the third one. The third one. I feel this is one of those times where I'm feeling like we have been doing this podcast for a minute.
Trilogy.
A trilogy. And I know you just had to come in a little late. You were all frazzled, Scotty Scoop, because you had traffic.
I'm not warmed up yet.
Welcome back.
Thanks, folks.
How you doing, buddy?
It's been a day.
It's
been a couple of days.
Did you have like bad work and then traffic, or was it?
Yeah, it was a full day. Usually I get hour here or there at work to like kind of just zone out.
Nice.
And tap away, but it's been nonstop.
Go
all day, 8 to 4:15. Then I jumped in the truck and then I got to sit in traffic for an hour.
The internet needs your help.
Yeah.
And you're out there servicing the internet.
Yeah, that's right.
And I guess there's more and more internet they need. You're busy.
Everybody needs their phone to do everything right now.
And context for new fans, maybe for Sam who doesn't know, Sam, Scotty has climbed towers and helped people to climb towers for all the major networks for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
You'll remember, like my dad's friend, he's had his job for a long time. You might remember a callback. And in the third seat tonight, a guest that we're excited to see once again, Sam, the Dungeon Master, Sam, the DM. Welcome back.
Thank you very much. It's an absolute pleasure to be back in the company of these top flight nerds and to plug all the crazy stuff that I get to do in the D&D space in this beautiful town of ours.
We're gonna touch on each of it because it has been a journey watching you grow with these shows. Learning how, for myself and Andy, learning about Dungeons and Dragons from an outsider looking in, which a lot of friends I know are on that side. But then also for you diehard fans, this is for you guys, man. Like, this has got to be the long time coming. This was the Iron Man came out and Marvel fans were like, here we go. Like, you got to feel, a little rock and roll, Sam, because I definitely feel that with you coming in, man, and taking the time because you're busy. You've gotten way busier. And we're talking about 2 big events today. We have an event that we're going to announce in the news and rumors. We actually already announced it, but we're going to get a little more detail about it. And August 4th at the City Winery, St. Louis. Bubbles and Bards, the Sunken City. Another live Dungeons and Dragons brunch hosted by, yes, that's right, Sam the Dungeon Master, along with, help me out, who you got joining you for this big show on August 4th?
So joining me for Bubbles and Bards on August 4th at the City Winery, we've got the hilarious local comedians and improvisers Alayna Huthsing, Conor Branson, and Tree Sanchez, who you may or may not have seen around town doing stand-up comedy, doing work at the improv shop here in town. They are hilarious people that have made incredible characters for this adventure, and we're doing a new thing now where they are going to be reprising the same characters for every one of these events. So as a means for them to get more comfortable with the lovely fantasy avatars that they've crafted. You get to come see some familiar characters play through this brand new adventure that I've written up about a terribly sunken city and what shenanigans are taking place there.
Great plug, man. And the way I can give a real good analogy to something like that, where you got the same cast essentially coming back to play out new stories, right? So that it's fresh for you guys, but you guys all have this like camaraderie, this context. It almost feels like dropping into a really amazing TV show or even a movie, where it's just like the characters are just like in action. You're kind of dropping into their lives. These guys have personalities that they've been developing with Sam through these characters. And Scotty and I have both had the pleasure of attending these brunches. So we know firsthand that is a great ass time. Scotty, just nerd out about, you went to the last two. You're going to this one on August 4th. What are you looking forward to expecting? And we're going to talk about this a little bit more in the end. So save the good stuff for later, but just nerd out about this for a minute.
Yeah, I'm excited. The usual suspects here. They've been great every time, and I'm one of the things that I dislike the most about one shots is you have to throw your character sheet away.
For sure.
And it's just like, I've done a lot of work and created this character, and now I don't really get to use it anymore. And I'm excited to see where they go, and I'm excited for them to get to fully flesh out some character more.
Well, that's very well said. I appreciate that. Yeah, and I appreciate you all, coming out to see the shows. It certainly means a lot. And yeah, the ability to craft these narratives for an audience is amazing luxury I get to have as a dungeon master. This is still sort of a kind of experimental space. I think a lot of creators out there are trying to figure out how to do stuff like this. But yeah, because Dungeons & Dragons is a storytelling game, there is ample opportunity for enjoyment as a third party watching this adventure take fold. It's the same as watching an action movie or a TV show. There's fights, there's laughs, there's crazy situations. I don't know what's going to be happening or what the players are going to do about the terrible threats that I've put in their way. And with every one of these performances, the audience gets to take a hand in the direction of the story. There are plenty of opportunities for audience interaction, so you do not have to be a passive participant if you show up to Bubbles and Bards.
You can be a part of the show.
Indeed. Not an embarrassing or awkward part of the show,
right,
but a part of the show.
August 4th. Go get your tickets now. City Winery, St. Louis. You don't want to miss it, and we're going to circle back around to that throughout the episode. With that, let's go to our first segment of the day.
Fan mail.
Always a ton happening in fan mail. People write into the show. We read comments. We read the letters that you do. We want to hear your voice. Leave us a voicemail at 754-CALL-LOG. We also give away a lot of contests. Congrats to all of our people, and thank you to all those who entered to win Clementine's Naughty and Nice ice cream. We've announced those winners, and more coming in the future, but those winners have been contacted. They're actually picking those up at the Clementine's locations all around St. Louis. Congrats to a winner that's attending a show, I should say. Scotty Scoop's going to this week, Thursday night, July 18th. Get the Lead Out. This is a Led Zeppelin cover band at the Factory in Chesterfield. And congratulations to friends of the show, actually her parents. Congratulations, Sarah H's parents. Woo! I just transferred her the tickets on Ticketmaster 30 minutes ago. Her parents are going, so you're ready to rock out with our friend Sarah's parents.
I guess I will be sitting next to them. We are probably near the same age, I would guess. I don't.
You got a couple tickets. You still trying to find people?
I still got 2 tickets. I got a couple of maybe see how tomorrow works out kind of thing. So.
Okay, all right. And
I will be going with Benjamin.
With your buddy Ben. By the time this comes out, it'll be too little too late. But, Sam, if you're listening, Thursday night, Led Zeppelin, you think about it. Okay, we're also giving away an album on vinyl, An Evening with Silk Sonic. Also an album that was nominated by Brad and STL, who was on the podcast. Maurice from Mount My MFTV came on the podcast. We got an album. Sadie, Promise, on vinyl. Go win it. And he's also... go ahead.
Sade?
Sade. Yeah.
Why is it... I can't say it right.
I chuckle every time he attempts.
But what do you say it?
It's delightful.
You say it.
Sade.
You say it.
I've always heard it pronounced as Sade.
All right. S-A-D-E, so I guess I'm the idiot.
Hey, look, things are spelled all kinds of ways.
Yeah.
The world's a confusing place. It's fine.
I'm glad, though. This is...
I didn't mean to start a thing. I'm couldn't let you get away with that. That's
This is the
all.
podcast for starting things. Hey, you
it's
can't pretend.
Sadie.
You can't pretend to be this white. You can't pretend to be this Missouri. Like
Could you please not put any seasoning on my Sadie, please?
I told Maurice, I thought this was a new and upcoming artist.
Oh,
This is
my
probably 30 years
Lord.
old.
And I have like taste. I like old music too. I just haven't come across. And I always say, don't make fun of people for not knowing about stuff when they find out about it for the first time.
Sure.
No.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of music out
Absolutely.
there.
Hey, I don't know if you know nerds,
Yeah.
but making fun of people for not knowing things is kind of what we do.
Well, that's why the nerds got a bad rap, and they had to get revenge
It
in the
is.
first place.
Oh,
Okay,
my God.
Shoddy, listen.
Yeah, safe territory to walk down. Revenge of the Nerds.
Yeah.
Oh, my word.
You can also win a free mount with service from Mount My MFTV. That's right. Go to mountmymftv.com and you could win all those contests, lots of contests every single week listed at mostlysuperheroes.com/contests.
News and rumors.
Pretty good news. One that I didn't make a slide for that I want to knock out first. Comic-Con is the same opening weekend as Deadpool. So July 26th through like 28th is Comic-Con.
Oh, wow.
There's a MCU panel. Kevin Feige will be at Hall H making announcements about the next slate.
Ooh, boy.
They weren't going to be there. Now they're there. Phase Zero also gets the podcast from comicbook.com. They're giving them a panel for the first time.
Wow.
So, that'll probably suck, though, compared to the Hall H one. I mean,
Yeah.
it'll be fine.
If Kevin Feige's
I'm
going to
just
be
kidding.
there, then
Love
I
you,
can
Phase
only
Zero guys.
I can only assume you're talking about the actual Comic-Con and not the half-assed one we get in St. Louis.
Yes,
That's
this is
right.
San
Okay.
Diego Comic
Okay, I
Con.
was going to say.
And there's
But
also.
there's no fucking way Kevin Feige's flying to St. Louis
No.
And
to
there-
talk in a convention center.
And there's
Sorry.
a whole Deadpool and Wolverine panel too.
Sure.
So they're gonna probably be showing the movie, which it just
Yeah.
never really happens. So we'll be covering the news. You'll hear
There will
about
be a lot of news, I'm
yes.
sure.
If you're
So
not
many.
attending, if you're not gonna be like at your computer all weekend,
Some teasers.
we'll tell you about it.
Carve your way through an army of Deadpool cosplay just to get to the panel discussions. It's going to be like, where's Waldo out there? It's
Yeah.
going to be crazy.
Absolutely.
And if you needed a reason not to go to Comic-Con, I've got one for you. On July 28th, 2024, we're hosting our second annual Screen and Social.
Woo!
Oh yeah, we'll give it up. We announced it last week with Maurice, but we didn't have any of the details. This week we have all the details. Marcus Ronnie's Cinema on Sunday morning, July 28th. Coffee and donuts and prizes at 9:15, a little bit more at 9:45, and the movie at 10. And we'll do a little post-social hangout, of course, after the movie, talk about the film. We'll have a podcast set up so you can say a few words, and we'll hang in the arcade. Come and join us and raise funds for our indie podcast and the Huntington's Disease Society of America, known as the HDSA. Fighting the Good Fight. We'll be donating some proceeds. So your $25 ticket gets you everything listed here. Get you the movie, the private theater experience. This is our Screen and Social, and we're going to be trying to do this a lot more often. This came together really nice. We've already sold more than half our tickets. Very limited seating. So if
Excellent.
you're hearing this right now, go get them right now. MostlySuperheroes.com. It's linked up right at the top. We can't wait to see you on the morning of Sunday, July 28th.
How many opportunities do you have to buy a ticket to see Deadpool and Wolverine and also be able to brag that it was a good thing you did for other people?
Yep.
No one else
Thanks
is
for
gonna
that,
be
Sam.
able to say that. You saw Deadpool and Wolverine? Yes, I did, and it helped out Huntington's. What the fuck did you do today?
How did you see Deadpool and Wolverine?
Right. Did you just give your money to Greg Marcus?
Yes. For what?
And Kevin Feige?
Another trailer?
Big Disney?
Yeah.
No, I helped someone else
And-
too.
and listen-
I mean, they did get some of that money, but
And,
Sure.
and this is the second time we've done this, so yeah, it got a little smoother. We changed up the theater. I couldn't be happier with working with Kelsey over at Marcus Theaters and helping us book this at Ronnie's over on Lindbergh in St. Louis. You got to be local. Absolutely. Money for a good cause. Seeing a movie at my favorite time of day, which is a weekend in the morning, and money for a good cause. And we can't thank our sponsors enough. Of course, Team Jakey, In the Stigma, Mental Health Warriors, fighting the good fight against suicide, helping everybody feel better, know that they're not alone, and that we're in this together. They're supporting the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention and St. Louis Provident Behavioral Health. These guys are the best. Sam Zeller and the crew over there at Team Jakey are awesome sponsors. You're going to hear them more on the podcast in the future. And they have their flagship Gentleman Jake's Cornhole Tournament on September 21st. Raise money for the AFSP, Provident Behavioral Health. Throw some bags, eat some hot dogs, drink some good drinks, win some good prizes. That's happening September 21st.
As somebody with major depressive disorder that suffers from a lot of the problems you just stated, the suicidal stuff, not the cornhole stuff. I
Don't struggle being bad at
certainly
cornhole.
I certainly appreciate the cause and the organization. That's very good shit.
I can't believe
Folks need help out there.
none of that was on the screen. Logan just knew all of that information. I'm impressed.
Well, whenever you're the producer and the marketer and the host and the writer, it's all pretty much in here, man.
Logan's, what we like to say on my show is that Logan's the guy with all the passwords.
That's
Oh,
exactly.
I assume.
there we go. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
On every show, there's one person that has all the passwords, and yeah, they just know all the stuff. I might be that guy on my show.
You just reminded me to buy the book. What the fuck is my password? We got it from my mother-in-law. You need to fill that thing out just in case, Scotty. You and Andy are have to pick this thing up. We're in news and rumors, and Dungeons and Dragons is on the pod. Help me out, Scotty. Kick us off. You guys talk about this and help us learn about what's new in D&D.
Well, so I think the most important thing to mention first is that Dungeons and Dragons has started to take up the naming conventions of the Xbox series of consoles, because we're now on Dungeons and Dragons. This is D&D 1, which is actually the 6th version of the game. But yeah, there's a new Dungeons and Dragons out, y'all. It's being released very soon. When are these coming out?
So I do believe the new PHB Player's Handbook is September.
Yeah.
And we have the new Dungeon Master Guide in November.
Mm-hmm.
And the Monster Manual is set to release in February.
What does this mean for people,
This means
for players?
rehashed rules.
Yes.
Yeah, just new ways to play.
So because Dungeons and Dragons is such a complicated game, and because it's such an old game, when tastes change, when trends change, when available materials change, and the audience grows up and evolves, Dungeons and Dragons and the various companies that have owned it, from
Wizards of the Coast,
Wizards
TSR.
of the Coast, and TSR, indeed. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
They update the entire system. They change the rules of the game. So sometimes that means changing which dice you use to roll how to do things. Sometimes that means adding or subtracting entire mechanics or classes, jobs you can be, creatures you can be, and this is one of those changes. They are rehashing all the rules for Dungeons and Dragons. Now, what they're claiming is that this new version, the 6th version of the game that's come out since its inception in the 70s, is going to be backwards compatible. So the version that everyone's gotten used to that let Dungeons & Dragons blow up into the giant cultural behemoth that it is now, never more popular, never more well-known, 5th edition, that's not going to be eradicated. There's just these 3 new rule books, which change some things, alter some things, but all the 5.0 stuff should work with this new D&D 1, is my understanding. I think that's the promise they're making, right?
A fresh coat of paint.
Indeed.
You could kind of say Dungeons and Dragons 5e plus, I might say.
Yeah. It's like the unofficial title.
Yeah.
So for longtime players, this means that input gathered from game testers, input gathered from the audience, little bugs or little workarounds or exploits that people have found in the system as it stands have been, they're attempting to polish them up, shore up certain things, make the game more balanced, more fair, more enjoyable, and I'm sure get an entirely new crew of people in to play this game who are like, this is my version. Yeah. I learned this rule set. I don't have to go back to a backlog of old books that are at this point. I mean, I forget how old 5e is, but it's up there at this point, right?
2008.
Yeah,
and that's what you've been rocking, Sam, right?
Yeah. So when I do my live shows and other various projects, we'll get into, it's usually 5th edition. But interestingly enough, the podcast I make, Challenge Rating 0, that uses an even older edition. Me and my friends, I'm a 36-year-old man. Me and my friends came up playing Dungeons and Dragons in around the year 2000, and that was the 3rd edition of the game, and then the 3.5 edition of the game, which got very popular. So we're on some even older shit that kids these days don't know anything about.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, we're not as old as the old school people that play like second edition stuff. But yeah,
It's amazing to me. It's like if I was playing Monopoly with my friends like for 20 years and just
Yeah.
keeping the game going
Yeah,
and being
that's-
like, hey guys,
that's
new
like if you-
rule book coming out. Like,
yeah, it's like new Monopoly. It's like that's not like a.
It's like you would, if you're sitting in your living room playing Nintendo instead of, Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, for sure.
oh,
For
man.
sure. We're on that old stuff. But yeah, new art. I mean, the art looks incredible. I think they got into a little trouble with some AI stuff.
There might have been a couple of AI
Situations? Wow.
and
Oh
I mean,
my gosh.
typically
It gets controversial so fast.
yeah, typically it's an artist who who might draw some things and then uses AI to kind of fill in.
AI can be used as a tool to do a lot of things, but if it just rips like a character that exists from another page, that's wrong.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of controversy with that, but yeah, I mostly everything I see as a D&D enthusiast and someone that kind of does this stuff for a living is people Wizards of the Coast, the company that makes Dungeons and Dragons, is just pumping out updates constantly. Oh, we changed this rule for this thing, and then nerds either complaining about it or be like,
Yeah.
The
How
great
can
thing
I
about-
exploit this?
Yes. The great thing about one of the many great things about Dungeons and Dragons is that it is a game played with a group of friends, usually in private at someone's house, at a comic shop, coffee shop. You do not have to buy these books. You do not have to entertain the rules in these books. Like I said, I play a version that's 24 years old at this point.
Is
So
the lesson for D&D players like do you just play whatever work like
do whatever you want as long as everyone consents and is having fun. Everything's allowed at the table as long as everyone consents and is having fun.
and it's up to the DM really.
Well, yeah, the
Yeah,
DM
I mean,
and the
it's a-
table in
it's-
general.
Yeah, it's a collaborative effort.
Is there ever a time like, all right, we're getting into 5e, and someone's like, bullshit,
Well,
I'm out of here.
if there is one person that is that big a problem, yeah, you usually just let him leave.
Yeah.
Usually.
All right, see you, Steve.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else in the D&D? I have some Sam specific stuff we're going to move into. Anything big picture D&D that the fans are talking about right now that we should be talking about?
It's 50th anniversary.
Yeah,
this
we
year.
just had the 50th anniversary.
Hey, give it up for that, man. You guys are
There's been some good videos.
you've been here
out.
for all that.
Yeah. Almost. Sure.
But you have been playing for all of it. I was totally kidding. You guys
yeah.
been playing about half of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been playing for
Early 90s is, I think, 92 was maybe my first game.
You also
Yeah.
just taught me something. I didn't realize they were 50.
Oh yeah. This game got made in 74.
1974.
Which you shared back when the
Gary-
first time
Geneva,
you came back.
Wisconsin,
Yeah,
by
like
Gary
Gary
Gygax and Dave
Gygax.
Arneson.
It's coming
Yeah.
back to me, fans that remember the first time Sam was here. Okay, speaking of Sam,
Some good documentaries on that you can look up.
For sure.
there is some news also in D&D world, but as it pertains to Sam, the DM, you were just had a performance at local pub, bar, venue, the Heavy Anchor.
Indeed.
Congrats.
Yeah. I appreciate that. Yeah, the Heavy Anchor is my favorite bar in St. Louis. I've been very blessed to hear my incredibly talented friends who are musicians play there. I've gone to 2-3 dozen shows there easy over the course of my time living in South City. It's a great bar, great venue, and I got the opportunity to play basically on my favorite stage in town, which was definitely like a bucket list thing. It was a very small show with a lot of friends in the crowd, so we had a great time, and I hope to, expand these live shows into as many other venues as will have us. We were lucky enough to play the Art Museum. We've done City Winery, and we got another one coming up. We played the Heavy Anchor, so we're, always keeping our eyes open. In the picture you see there, that's Connor and Tree with me. Alayna, unfortunately, was sick that day, so my good friend Mike Shadler stepped in to play a character. But yeah, it was a great time.
You got a whole roster. You got a bench.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of working on that. I'm trying to make sure we got replacements, and as the DM, I'm the guy that's booking these and talking to folks and making sure all the I's get dotted and the T's get crossed. And so I'm trying to cultivate a stable of sort of talented comedians and improvisers that I can, that will have enough availability to cover all of these dates. Which is a very good problem to have.
You're knocking on the door of like a amazing TV show.
Yeah,
maybe.
This is really I'm about to start following you around.
Well, I mean, Dimension 20 already, is already doing that. There you go. There's plenty of Dungeons and Dragons content out there for people to watch. But yeah, maybe we'll see what the future holds.
So more shows like what you saw at the Heavy Anchor, and then let's talk back about your officially published. You teased this out, man. Congratulations,
Indeed.
The Cobra Express.
Thank you.
That's great.
Thank you very much. This is literally a lifetime dream of mine. I've wanted to be an author since my earliest conscious thoughts. I've always been a writer, and I've put that mostly into like the occasional poem or some songwriting, and D&D, just a whole bunch of writing for Dungeons and Dragons. And I ran into a lovely man named Christian Kessler, who is the graphic designer of this particular module, who works for a company called Space Penguin Inc. And I was kind of able to tease this the last time I was on, but they found an amazing artist, Corey Holder, and along with the editor, Jarrett Crater, we were able to put out the Cobra Express, which is a Dungeons and Dragons module for compatible with 5th edition D&D that I wrote. It is a one-shot adventure that is composed of a train heist that the players have to thwart, and the big thing with this is that the goal was to write and publish something that has the newbie dungeon master in mind. And so this isn't some long drawn-out narrative. This is a very concise and action-packed singular adventure made for level 1 characters. So if you and your crew are just getting started and aren't exactly sure how everything works yet, you've got very little room to mess up too badly in this one. Everything's pretty well contained, and it ships with maps and miniatures included with the module. So, Scott, I'll show you these. For one thing, the Cobra Express.
Hold it up for the camera.
Man,
Look at this thing.
I love this this artwork.
Yeah, Corey Holder is an incredible artist. Everyone should look him up on Instagram. He is very, very talented, and the level of like personality and honestly just like blackness that he brought to this module and some of the art design is something I really really appreciate. But yeah, as you when you order this book, you get these amazing maps that go with it. So these are all the cars of the train that you adventure through. They're all incredibly well animated, and so these are the battle maps that you can put your minis on as you go around your adventure. And then it also ships with all for one low price. You also get miniatures. So there's
nice.
Amazing minis that you can have as your player, all the NPCs and villains and stuff. All of these lovely minis you just cut out, fold, and they're ready to go. So this is an all-inclusive module for a DM that wants a nice, light, and action-packed one-shot for some level 1 players.
All right, so this is where we do, while Scotty's thinking of what he's going to say, because I want you to react, this is where, just let's sneak in, where do people get it? If people are at their house right now and they're listening, where are they looking this up to get it?
That is an incredible question, and I'll tell you, right now, it is not technically available for purchase. So,
smart.
Space Penguin Inc., which is INK, Space Penguin Inc., which is the amazing publisher that put this out, they are actually going to debut this at Gen Con, which is the Geneva Convention, which is the official Dungeons and Dragons and tabletop gaming convention in Indianapolis, which is starting in August this year. So this will be premiering at the Space Penguin Inc. booth at Gen Con on the floor at that convention.
This is a major announcement.
Yeah, which I could not be more floored by. It's
we did not know this coming
fucking
in.
Incredible.
Wow, congrats, man. And I guess you'll be there, right? I mean.
Oh, no.
You're so big time. You're so big time.
I do not have the schedule or the,
Chris Hemsworth over here. This guy.
Yeah.
I love it.
So they're
not available. I'm not going to the signing. Find my fucking book.
So yeah,
Just
they're
kidding, man. That's amazing. All
Yeah.
right, Scotty, react as a fan and questions.
Beautiful. It's a beautiful book, laid out perfectly. It's got the bestiary in here. It's laying out every plot hook and the artwork, man. I love the style of art.
What'd you think
Yeah.
of the miniatures and the maps?
Yeah, that's a plus.
That's a huge plus.
Always a plus.
Yeah, it's all
You know-
it all just ships with everything you need. I mean, you just need some dice and some scratch paper, and you're covered.
Okay.
And even the art on the minis is great. You
Yeah.
know, you just cut them out, and you can not only of course use them for this, but use them for any other adventure you're running.
Absolutely.
But so this is debuting at the Space Penguin Inc. Booth at Gen Con, and then a week after the convention, so in like mid-August or so, this will officially go on sale at Space Penguin Inc. It is on the Space Penguin Inc. website right now. Space Penguin, I think Inc.com. So you can go there and like see it. It says sold out for the moment. That'll change in like mid-August or so.
All right, we'll help you
You've
make
got
sure.
a skew. You've got a skew.
That's official.
Could
Yeah,
not
That's
be
the official.
more.
That's part of the design proof you have to approve, right? So the white block, it's like that's where that's going to go. This
Yeah.
is very official.
This is my published work, and I could not be more honored and thankful that I got the opportunity to do this. And yeah, seeing my little name on published work is a dream come true.
I love the fancy H.S. Kemp III.
Oh yeah, well you got to be an author about it, right?
Yes, all author name, dude. Congratulations, you're riding that high right now.
Yeah.
I am feeling very, very good about it. It came out perfectly, and yeah, I'm talking with Space Penguin about putting out a few more of these and maybe putting those all into like a big compendium at some point. So keep your eyes out for more stuff down the road.
And they could check out you on Instagram, right? This is a great place. You make your major announcements whenever I'm looking for Sam. I go to Instagram.
You can go to samthedm.com. That's where you can find links to all my social media. That's where you can find the lowdown on, how to hire me and get in contact and stuff. And yeah, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, and putting out updates as things come up as often as I can. But yeah, samthedm.com for all your D&D needs.
Dude, congrats. And I heard that people can, at the convention, they're going to be able to see the debut of your book. Are people going to get their hands on it at that convention? Is it going to be like a limited amount of copies type of thing?
Yeah, this will be for sale at the Space Penguin Inc. booth.
For
at Gen
sale,
Con.
not just the announce. I thought they might just have it on display even.
no,
that people can actually
Usually they'll have like boxes of these.
And we have D&D listeners, across the country. So like if you're going to this thing, you can get this thing first.
Yeah, if you happen to be listening to this and you happen to be going to Gen Con, please go to Space Penguin Inc. and ask for the Cobra Express.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, you can get more news like that at mostlysuperheroes.com/newsletter. That's a monthly newsletter we send out once a month. Me, Scotty, and Andy all write a little bit about what's going on in our lives, and you can sponsor it too. So check it out, and we'll give you more news just like that. What you sharing? That's right. One of our favorite segments back again. Roundtable. Let's do it. Starting with our guest, Sam the DM. Tell us what you love about a TV show that's animated on HBO, DC property, My Adventures with Superman, voiced Clark Kent there, voiced by Jack Quaid from The Boys, I know, but I have only seen the pilot. I'll have my reaction. I want to hear from you, sir.
Well, first of all, Superman's my favorite comic book character, and I truly believe the greatest comic book character ever conceived. And so as a diehard fan of Kal-El, the last son of Krypton, I was very skeptical and reserved going into this cartoon show. I remember Superman the Animated Series from Warner Brothers when I was a kid, which was a wonderful take on the character.
Absolutely.
The old
So good.
Christopher Reeves movies, great, but I was not personally a fan of the Snyderverse, personally.
Little dark.
Yes, for me it's a little dark for a character as inherently hopeful and, let's face it, whimsical as Superman is, I believe, supposed to be. You got me going on this now. I'm never ever going to stop.
That's why we're here, dude. This is why we're here.
So what My Adventures with Superman is just in my opinion, a great cartoon show. It is everything a Superman cartoon show should be, which is light and hopeful, but there are moments of danger. There's action. Clark is running around, throwing cars and catching airplanes and stuff like he always does. But this is a sort of modern reimagining of how this all goes. So in this version, Clark and Lois and Jimmy Olsen are all interns at the Daily Planet. So they are not reporters. They do not have any official assignments. They're just interns that are supposed to bring coffee and make copies. But Lois is, of course, incredibly ambitious, wants to get out there, wants to get the story. And so, hijinks ensue. It's got kind of a Scooby-Doo vibe, a little bit going in through the first episodes, because you got these precocious young interns chasing down stories. But the story always turns out to be a giant robot attack or like mutants with crazy powers. And so, and over the course of it, you get to explore Clark's like backstory, examine his relationship with his parents, his sense of like alienation from finding out, he's not of this world.
Like much later than usual, I feel like he doesn't really know. I feel like that was the pilot a little bit. Like it seemed like his parents didn't explain to him as much about who he is.
They do have this little flashback when he's a kid. He finds his parents show him this crazy spacecraft that they were never able to get into that fell when they found him. And he goes there and like the security system acts up and is like trying to bring him in, but his parents almost get hurt. So he's like, never again. I'm your son, never. So there is this rejection of his Kryptonian heritage that he's struggling with here. So it's kind of like Superman Year One, Oh, yeah. It's very big in the origin story. It's very big in, approaching all these characters from.
There it is. We just had a winner. Ryan R. in Nebraska just won that. We got to send it to him.
That's a great book.
Incredible.
So have you read that?
I have not.
Okay.
I'm gonna.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that
for sure.
My adventures with Superman.
Yeah.
I want you to wrap up. Final thoughts and a rating on the 4.0 scale.
They do a great job of reflecting these established characters in sort of modernist terms. You got like tech bro financiers and stuff instead of like the old dusty, corporate CEO. There's a lot of great mad scientists. There's interesting powers, and Superman's flying around, kicking ass all over the place. The love story between Lois and Clark is very adorable, and Jimmy's hilarious. I'd give it a what's the rating?
4.0 scale, like a GPA.
I'd give it a
4.0 is perfect. 0.0 is unwatchable
for sure. I'd give it like a 3.8 at the very least.
Woo!
At the very least, I could have done with more references to the Superman canon in general.
Okay,
but
that's what I was going to ask. We got some classic villains here. We got our Luthor.
We're looking at Luthor doesn't really show up as a proper threat in what I've seen so far. I haven't watched absolutely all of it. The second season came out not too long ago.
Okay.
Wow.
But yeah, you got Parasite. You got Deathstroke.
Oh, nice.
You got some.
A little more serious on the villain side.
A little bit.
Okay.
But Amanda Waller's in there, General Lane.
Yeah.
So you definitely have some folks, but it's not the deep dive into the canon that I was hoping to see.
Mr. Mitzelplick.
Yeah, yeah.
Pittelwick.
No fifth dimensional
Mitzelplick.
yet. But I give it like a 3.7, 3.8. It's a lot of fun.
And clearly Jimmy Olsen dies in this episode.
Can't just ride Superman's leg.
Like
hanging on to the
nice
knee.
firm grip on the kneecap.
Poor bastard.
I watched the pilot. Did you watch any, Scott?
I have not watched it yet. I'm a little more excited. I mean,
it's a good time.
I
As a
hadn't
diehard
heard
Superman
much about
fan,
it.
I enjoy it.
All right, Die Hard.
Yeah, you don't hear a lot of buzz, right? No one's talking about
no
it.
one's- It might be.
I mean, to
bloomer.
be on season 2 and to hear almost nothing about it.
For sure.
And Jack Quaid in there. Superman's my OG guy. Definitely like the inspiration for a while of superheroes. My first favorite. And like everything that comes out, I watch. And I've had problems with a lot of the stuff that's come out. Obviously, you've already said most of it. This show, I'm still not quite convinced. I watched the pilot, and it's just a lot different. It's very soft. It's not even as hard as like the Supergirl TV show with Melissa Benoist. Like
That's very true.
Like it's just very, and like
It's sunshine and rainbows
it is.
with occasional peril.
And I got like really upset with like a couple little things. Like he wakes up and he's like, oh, it's a pilot, right? So he's like, I got to go into work, the internship, and he goes to hit his alarm clock and he breaks it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, that's cute for some new fan that doesn't really know stuff. Like,
yeah, for sure.
This guy is I'm like, I was thinking about like, how is he hugging his friends? How is he gonna kiss a girl? Like he can't. Like this is gonna be Homelander.
Like you're old enough to have an internship, but you're not quite sure about your strength level yet.
Yeah, and he flew, and he's like, "How am I doing this?" I'm like, "What do you mean?"
Those kinds of nuances are not explored, certainly, and it is definitely more kid friendly.
Keep it moving too,
sure.
and it's shorter episodes, and like what the Villinger mentioned, and like even the title, there's like he's fighting like some Superman looking creature with like an S on its chest. I don't even know who it was. I was like,
Is it like a Bizarro or?
It was a woman. It was like
I haven't seen Bizarro or Zod yet.
Okay, so maybe,
but yeah.
So this is leaning more towards Teen Titans Go than Teen Titans.
It's not that silly.
It's more serious and anime than that. Like it's like
it's
I feel
also
the
very anime inspired. The art style is
it
incredible.
looks beautiful.
Yeah. And his powers seemed a little strange in the first one. It was like he levels up. It seems like
there is
it's like a
some
Goku. It's like Super
exploration.
Saiyan.
Yeah, there is a mechanic where in like desperate times he gets like a surge of power from the spaceship buried under his parents' farm, and so they are using this sort of metaphor for him. They're using that as a metaphor for him, like rejecting or embracing his Kryptonian heritage.
Okay.
You know,
Which
it's like,
does fall in line. Like that is
Yes.
how it goes.
Yes.
If he becomes full Kal-El, he kind of leaves his human heritage behind, and it's like a memory wipe. Even like you could become like a bad Superman, black suit.
And I think it's important to remember that anytime a group of nerds has a conversation like this, what it basically comes down to, this is new and it's different. We don't like new and different unless it proves itself.
Yeah.
And so this won't be for everyone. It is for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, fair.
I'm
Fair.
gonna check
We
it
call
out
that
for
a
sure.
fair share, and I'm gonna finish the first season because I already watched the first one. All right, Superman. My Adventures with Superman. All right, I'm gonna plug a podcast because we're on a podcast. Theo Vaughn. If you're not a fan,
You guys ever
be
heard
a
of
fan.
Theo Vaughn?
Theo Vaughn this past weekend. I've been watching a lot lately, and it just keeps getting better and better. Like I'm crying like every episode now. Like
The dude's funny.
he had a
In a
lunch
good
lady on.
way,
He had a
or-
lunch lady on, a real lunch lady
Okay.
from a real like school, and just talked to her, and it was freaking awesome.
Take notes.
I'd take. You think
I
I'm not
can-
taking notes?
I could
This
go
is
to
me
3
taking notes right
schools
now.
and bring you a lunch lady if that's what you want.
All right. I mean, we've talked to real people. Sam's the lunch lady of the Dungeons and Dragons world. Duh. Andy
serving
didn't.
it up.
Andy
just
was
serving up hot stories that I made myself.
Andy was supposed to be here to talk about A Quiet Place Day One.
Hey,
and
we saw it.
we did see it. I've already given my. We've already given our review.
You could go back and listen to Logan and I's fresh take.
Okay, here's what we'll do for fans. We did an instant reaction. It's like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
It's 3 minutes long, and it's on YouTube and on the podcast, so you can go listen to that and be like, in the theater, we sat in the back and recorded our instant take. It's been at least 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
2-3 weeks. What do you think of the movie now? Rating?
I would like to go back and watch it again. It was every bit as good and fresh as the first movie.
Yeah, I think like good and fresh. You said it. It's like
Yeah.
not connected really.
This was not a rehash at all.
It's just new characters.
It didn't feel stale. It didn't feel like this was the third movie.
It's an alien invasion movie.
Yeah.
I mean, there you go. Okay, so tell us about a movie you also just saw.
Oh, Twisters.
This is early screening too, so we're getting this
Early.
review for you out on opening weekend. Twisters, the sequel that no one asked for. 25 years later, maybe Sam did.
I revisited Twister for a movie night I had with some friends of mine, and as a disaster film, it checks all the boxes. It's also a horror film where the killer is a fucking tornado.
Yes.
You really
which
think that,
is-
Joe? You really think that, Joe? That's what Carrie says all the time. Continue.
Man. But yeah, I mean, Twister's an all-time classic. Dying to hear what the sequel's like.
So, if you remember Twister,
Give us a setup.
this is
It was what year? Do you guys remember?
1996.
Nice.
This is
Jodie Foster,
no Helen Hunt,
Helen Hunt.
Helen
Bill-
Hunt, my
Bill
Classic
Pa-
mix-up.
Bill Paxton.
This is a classic
R.I.P.
90s mix-up.
Bill Paxton, R.I.P. The only guy, of
Bill
course.
Paxton's dead?
2017, my friend.
Damn.
It's been a while. The
Okay.
only man to
It's
be
over, man.
the only man to be killed by an alien, a Terminator, and a Predator.
Oh, hell yeah.
Incredible.
R.I.P. Great work,
Yeah.
man.
Incredible legacy.
Give it up.
So this is Twister.
Twisters.
There's more than one.
There's more than one.
This is,
Oh my God!
This
Wait,
is
what?
No spoilers.
The original cranked up to 11.
You're spoiler free.
Okay.
Don't worry,
Okay.
listen.
Yeah, spoiler free. We've got Daisy Edgar Jones starring as Kate, and probably the most handsome man I've ever seen in Hollywood's new It Boy, Glenn Powell,
This guy's everywhere right now.
starring as Tyler.
I feel like he's been planning this attack on like Hollywood and screens. Like
Yes.
he's like everywhere.
Like I'm waiting for him to get cast in the MCU. I would put him as a Cyclops.
Let's go.
You know, I'm a little
100%.
disappointed then that this handsome boy's face isn't on. I don't think I've ever fucking seen a movie poster where none of the actors' faces are on the
yeah,
poster.
this
That
poster is a little
crazy.
disappointing here.
Let me tell
That
you.
is
I'll tell you why.
crazy.
I'll tell you why. This is the only way that you get every generation.
It's true. That just looks like the crew from the last movie, doesn't it?
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah, a little
shit,
bit.
you're right.
Are they picking it up? Or are they
You're
not?
right.
Are they
Oh
picking it
my
up? Or are they
God.
not?
That's such a good point.
We've got Anthony Ramos also in this, and the new Superman,
Ooh.
David Cornsweet, is in this movie.
Wow,
Say that
And-
last name again.
Cornsweet.
I'm sorry. Can you say that last
Corn
name just
sweat?
one more time?
You're my new.
Cornsweet.
My new Superman.
Am I wrong?
No, I bet
I
you're right.
had never heard anyone say it before,
I'm
and now
fairly
I'm a little
certain
horrified.
So he's
I'm
in this?
on this.
Oh,
He's in
my
this?
word.
David Cornsweet.
So you got.
Not only is he in this, but he's kind of a dick.
Wait a minute. So we got a taste of this actor,
Yes.
and I don't know if
This is the first time that I knowingly have seen him on screen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. Tell us more about how the movie went. How did it feel? You were there early,
I was there early. I went to the right theater on the right day,
which
yeah.
he didn't last week or the week before. Literally a day early.
a day early,
And a dollar
then,
short.
And then the week before that, I went to the wrong theater for a screening.
So you're there. You made it.
This was not exactly what I expected it to be.
Okay.
The original Twister is kind of cheesy, kind of corny, and this one started that way to the point where I kind of looked at the person who went with me, my sister Tori, and I was like, "Is this really what they're doing here? It's a little cheesy."
Oh no.
And then it kind of got its footing.
Oh,
And
that doesn't
and-
happen very often.
and really picked up. We've got the main character, Kate, suffered a tragedy, and of course, it was a twister.
so
She's
we're getting a synopsis.
a little synopsis.
This is going to take
here.
away the wonder.
Did
Yeah,
her
but-
dad get sucked up by a tornado?
No, we can't
I'm
talk
not
about
gonna,
stuff.
I'm not going to tell you who got sucked up
Okay,
by a
okay.
tornado.
But too many.
Somebody got sucked up by a tornado.
She is a meteorologist and a storm chaser.
Okay,
She's
gotcha.
trying to
Okay.
figure out how to fight tornadoes.
Wendy's
Sure,
got a big
basically.
upgrade. Big upgrade to Wendy, I bet.
A tragedy happens, and she kind of steps away from the storm chasing world. And 5 years go by.
This is a lot of plot.
No, I'm just telling you the basic.
More than I want.
And some.
Way more than I want.
Her friend invites her back and says, "Hey, I got some technology. We could really make a difference.
Hell
here.
yeah.
Can
Okay.
you come
Is
back
Is it the little
and help
thingies?
us?"
That's a lot. You're gonna know. That's the first 20 minutes of the movie.
No, it's really not. though.
Girl backs out. Friend gets her back.
You can cut out as much of this as you like.
Not from my brain.
That's not
And this is all-
entirely true.
This lady here.
You're right. I just need the right supplies.
And she's kind of like, "I'm a scientist. I'm here to do work." And in comes Tyler, Glenn Powell. He's a YouTube storm chasing cowboy.
I was.
And-
this is the spoiler
Can I
filled
just
take.
say-
And I'm not even joking.
Can I just say-
YouTube storm chasing cowboy.
Of course, it's like a modern day take.
Yes.
I follow. But like we're in the movie now.
The thing I love so much about Twister is that they invented almost whole cloth the concept of like the storm chaser as this adrenaline junkie bro, like
Yes.
you got the good guys and the bad guys.
Mhm.
In the original movie, it's like we're the low budget.
We're
like,
chasing the storm.
Yeah.
No, we're chasing
yeah,
the storm.
It's like, hey, get off of our storm,
doing
man.
it-
This is our tornado.
We're doing it for science and to help people. We just want to shoot fireworks into this tornado and
Yeah.
see if it works.
And it was
Yeah,
like,
for
it
sure.
was at a drop. It was a drop everything. You're always on call.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
and it was almost like a
Like they're grouping up in
Yeah.
parking lots, and there's like 50 different storm chasers, and
Yeah,
or
it's-
which cell are you gonna chase? Now I'm chasing this one. You made a stupid choice.
I did just watch the original like 2 weeks ago. Who's the guy from Along Came Polly where he's like, "Make it rain"? Philip Seymour
Hoffman.
Yeah.
He's in that movie. They're all just like running. They're crazy. It's always like,
Yeah,
"Stop what you're doing, Annie."
That's
like,
what this is.
Okay.
Yeah, it feels like they made up an infrastructure like they did for John Wick,
Yes.
which is almost completely fucking complete fabrication.
Mm-hmm.
Like the fact that there's just a bunch of people, and that there's like the fact there's a bunch of people waiting to chase down tornadoes in like fucking RVs.
Yes.
And that there's so many that they have fractured into camps and factions
Yes,
that
and
war
they're,
with each
like,
other was
yeah.
like completely insane.
That's how I felt in Twister too. Like they were having that dinner at the lady with all the wind chimes.
Yeah.
You know, the wind chime, and like they're all like hugging her and kissing her, and like
we're lo-fi authentic DIY storm chasers. Oh no, the corporate goon
Yep,
storm
here
chasers.
they come. Did you see this
The
movie?
rich kids from across the
This
lake.
is it. It's the
Well,
same.
no,
it's the same
it's
story. It's the original.
It
Yeah,
is-
this is the original
it is
Twister,
the same
yeah.
story, and
It's like
there
the same.
there are almost zero threads between this one and the
Mhm.
original.
Okay.
You know, just a couple of little Easter eggs
Well,
here and
on,
there.
on another day in the future, we're gonna have a real talk on this podcast about what spoilers are.
How'd you like the film? End of the day.
I really enjoyed this film.
Okay.
This is one that I would say, if your interest is piqued by hearing anything, go see it, because it is one of those big screen summer tentpole
Like a real spectacle.
disaster porn kind of like they like the CGI on these twisters they had was really, really good.
And better on the big screen.
Better on
Excellent.
the big screen.
In the
with
in the 4D theaters, I
the
bet they got wind.
sound.
Like the
it was
Screen
really
X, I bet
good.
the Screen X will be crazy for this movie.
And this is apparently projected to do pretty well. $155 million budget, and it is on pace for about $55 million in its opening weekend.
the parents and their
Huh?
kids strategy continues.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
And look, we got the font.
back in my day, we only had one twister.
Will they
in
still get
2
under the
weeks-
bridge?
In 2 weeks, it's probably going to be the only movie other than Deadpool and Wolverine that you're going to be able to see.
Why?
I don't know about you, but I looked up screen times at Ronnie's
Yeah. Is it-
for Deadpool Wolverine opening weekend.
Uh-huh.
Twisters and some other movie is the only other movies playing
Oh, they're taking up all the spots?
on that weekend. On Friday alone,
yeah,
I think
yeah.
there were 51 showtimes of Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah, they got to make sure everyone can.
And
get
I
in.
think there were 3 showtimes of Twister.
This is
Yeah.
crazy. We're going to
Oh,
see
yeah.
this the marketing, the PR press tour, the
How hilarious would it be? How, like, galactically humorous would it be if Deadpool and Wolverine was a bad movie, and not just like, oh, it's all fart jokes, but like so bad that nerds hated it. Can you imagine if this thing flopped?
it could.
Oh,
They have so many brand partnerships.
I'm telling
It
you,
could.
it
They
doesn't
have
take much
so
these
many-
days.
Every
It seems
commercial,
so thoughtful.
Every commercial I see on YouTube is like, yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine bring you, I don't know, deodorant. They bring you like, hey,
Dude.
do you need a new strap on? Deadpool and Wolverine branded
Right.
like rubber fists. Like
Kids
it's
in third world
crazy.
countries
new
are
ev-
eating popcorn out
Yeah.
of the buckets that they're trying to sell.
Every day there's a new marketing brand, like there's a brand team up every single day, something new, and we are still like 2 weeks out.
Right.
It's so nuts. I'm gonna eat my Wolverine Pop-Tarts and my Deadpool t-shirt,
Yeah.
drive my Wolverine motorcycle with my
Bye,
Deadpool
Brennan.
Crocs. It's
I'll-
like it's everything.
I can tell you that what I feel is Disney is placing bets, and Kevin Feige
It's
pulled
all,
Bob
I think
Iger
it's
to the
all on
side.
the line here.
I think that like this is the movie that you've got to bet on, and we'll take all the fans with us. And we talked a lot about like why this movie's going to do well, but whenever you start,
Is it the only
you see them in a Jack in
movie
the Box
this year for Marvel? Was there anything else this year?
Good question.
When did Marvels come out? Was that a while ago?
It was
Marvels was, I
yeah,
think,
6 months
November?
ago. Yeah, it was a long and then
I think this is
Like
it.
the
Agatha
last- like the last
all
one.
along.
Yeah, we're going to get a TV show.
TV show.
Secret Invasion might have been the last TV show.
Thunderbolts is like the next
Next
movie.
year?
Then Brave New World is next year.
Yeah.
And we got a trailer for it.
Yeah,
They're about to announce stuff at, we're going on Tangent
We'll get
City,
a
not
bunch of-
Marvel, but
teasers, I'm sure, for a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I think Deadpool and Wolverine's going to be very interesting.
okay. Call back to the last episode. We're still in the Marvel thread. We
Mhm.
pulled on this one last time. There was a 4th mystery Blade movie. So we've talked about all the original Blade films with Wesley Snipes. Those are
So-
some of my favorite episodes. And when Sam was here last time, we brought up this 4th movie,
I failed.
The Blade of House of Chthon. It's on DVD. It's
failed
okay.
you.
We're gonna do it.
You all.
We're gonna do it in the future. But you brought up a good point in the patron pre-show that I think it'd be good just to do for like 1-2 minutes. are they going to make this Blade movie? Scotty, like, just talk about what you've been feeling with this Blade movie that they're making, the new one.
Man, I mean, they
around
announced
the table.
They announced the casting, I think, at like Comic-Con in like 2019 of help me out
At
the guy's name.
Mahershala Ali.
Yeah, Mahershala Ali, that's right.
Mhm.
And man, I don't know if by the time they teased his voice in the
In credit
Eternals.
scene of Eternals, spoiler alert for Eternals, in credit scene they announced Blade via a voice to one of Sam's favorite characters, the Black Knight.
Black Knight.
Black Knight. Not the Black Knight. Black Knight.
Discussed in the pre-show.
I don't.
Yes, in the pre-show. That's a tease for the pre-show.
I mean, Mahershala Ali is not a young guy. I'm hoping
no.
he doesn't age out of the part by the time they get to make this movie.
Oh, I mean, how old was
yeah.
Wesley when he started? It'll be fine. We'll be okay.
Wesley had to be in his 30s.
It'll be okay.
Yeah, but Wesley Snipes had like a career of doing like kung fu and stuff.
Yeah.
So the release
Mahershala's
date
got to be
for-
in like late 40s, right?
He'll be fine. I'm not worried about any of that.
I'm worried.
So this is the third time. I'm sorry, I'm just reading off the internet because I fucking lost track of all the shit.
They're on their like third or fourth director at this point,
Right.
and they've rewritten the script, I think, twice.
Yep.
Yeah, in the past year, the opening date has been delayed 3 times.
This should have come out in 2022, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And of
That's
course, we all know
bizarre.
COVID happened. And
Yes.
I'm not putting this all on COVID, but this has had problem after problem after problem. And one of the main problems, they said that this Blade movie had almost no Blade.
Yeah. It was a lot of like new characters.
Yeah, like they were trying to shoehorn in some other characters.
They're trying to Black
or
Adam
even make this a team movie.
Black Adam
You know,
approach.
Yeah. It's it's a shame to see because I think that Blade has a very unique position in the Marvel movie, galaxy, because I think Blade was the first like financially successful Marvel film. Is that?
I think that sounds right. It was rated R.
Yeah, for sure. Yes, it was unapologetically violent, graphic, and profane, and I loved every fucking second of it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was also like a huge commercial success in the DVD market. Like it was
Yeah.
one of the earliest DVDs that got printed and shipped. And
1998. And just a little Easter egg: Twister,
Mm-hmm.
first movie in America on DVD.
Hell yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
What a twist.
But yeah, so with Blade, like we were talking about a little earlier, you've got like an established filmography, you have an established cinematic canon, and with Marvel's radically different tone now, and the way they like to handle things, the way they go about these movies, like, is it too dark in general for what Marvel wants to do? Is it too violent for what Marvel wants to do? Is it a reboot? Is it an update? Is it a sequel? How are they going to incorporate, reflect, reference all the stuff that came before? Because the first Iron Man movie, no one knows who the fuck Tony Stark is unless you read comic books.
Right.
It was all Hulk and Spider-Man.
And
that's
they
it.
got to take the same approach with this. They got to like make it about the character and
Yeah.
set the tone. The tone has to be right. And everything you're saying is right. Like
If there's,
the
if there's
problem.
not a blood rave, I'm gonna be there. Just like one, just one blood rave.
One blood
Marvel,
rave.
Do it.
They're having this. All the things you said are exactly right. They're having the problems of parents that are older now, and like and like how like are they only marketing this to adults? Like they needed to make the decision that the answer is yes on that, and maybe they're just holding their breath and just waiting to see what happens with this Deadpool Wolverine.
Deadpool
movie.
Wolverine, and I think what they're lacking is some more mature adult content.
Yeah.
for
What have
sure.
we seen? The only thing that's that have been adult.
Daredevil,
or-
Punisher,
Those are which were Netflix separate, but there was sex in them. That was
Yeah.
huge, And,
Jessica Jones.
I mean, Moon Knight was not even that hard. It was
No.
it was pretty soft.
They
you
could have
thought
gone a little darker with that. I think.
I thought that was like waiting to be like, and it wasn't. It was just kind of like
Mhm.
Yeah, the Daredevil TV show got pretty gnarly for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why are they so reticent to bring that to the big screen?
They
these
want
days?
they want that kid money.
Yeah, that's true.
They want
You gotta
instead of
drag
you
your
and
kid
your
to the
and your
theater.
significant other,
yes.
they want you to bring, like me, a family of 5.
So they can do all this
Sure,
again in
sure,
20 years.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
It's going to be the same game like over and over. But
I
like,
don't know. If I had a kid, I wouldn't be like, "Hey, there's making a new Blade movie. Come on, little Sam Jr. Let's go." Let's go watch a grown man exsanguinate an army of bloodsuckers. Like,
See, and on the flip side, I watched the first 3 movies with my, I think at the time, 12-year-old daughter Lila, and she loved them, but I just don't really.
Well, you know better than me then.
Yeah,
you know better than me.
I think it's one of those things where like me and Andy saw this as kids and we weren't supposed to, and like me and Andy are totally fine. Okay.
Sure.
Don't answer that. All right, let's move into our last segment and talk about some more D&D and the big event coming up. And now, a break. Hey squad, Logan here from Mostly Superheroes, wanting to talk to you today about some real-life heroes. Team Jakey, headquartered here in St. Louis, Missouri. They're turning the tragedy of losing their beloved Jake Zeller into life-changing action. Not just by making a difference, but by saving lives. Team Jakey supports both the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention and Provident Behavioral Health here in St. Louis. Join us at their annual Gentleman Jake Memorial Cornhole Tournament. It's more than just a game. It's a community coming together to lift each other up with some of the world's best prizes. If you're feeling down or know someone who is, Team Jakey's here with a message of hope. Reach out by calling 988. You can also visit www.afsp.org or text TALK to 741-741. You're not alone, and there's always a way forward. Someone's waiting for your call or text message. Search for Team Jakey on Facebook and learn more at www.mostlysuperheroes.com/give. Every bit helps, and together, we can make a difference. If you listen to the podcast, you know that before and after the show, when we're hungry or craving some beers or some live music, we usually end up at the Gramophone in the Grove here in St. Louis, Missouri. It's our spot for the best sandwiches in St. Louis, like the epic classic The Jive, stacked with roasted turkey, thick-cut bacon, Swiss, lettuce, tomato, avocado spread, and pepper mayo on a toasted baguette. Don't skip the sides. Nothing beats Big Willie's homemade mac and cheese. It's the sidekick that never, ever lets you down. Plus, with daily specials, there's always something new to celebrate. So come join us at 4243 Manchester Avenue, St. Louis, Missouri, 63110 at the Gramophone, and tell them that Mostly Superheroes sent you. Visit www.gramophoneSTL.com for their full menu and more. The Gramophone, where heroes hang out. We got pretty cool ads on this podcast, I'll give us that. However, you might be like me when it comes to certain content, and I just don't want the ads. As little as $1.99 a month, you can get ad-free content from Mostly Superheroes. That's right. Patreon, Apple Podcast, Podbean, all of these channels offer ad-free versions of our episodes coming out early, including the patron pre-show, the show before the show. Open up Patreon, Apple Podcast, or Podbean, or go to mostlysuperheroes.com/support to learn more. Thank you for supporting your favorite independent podcasts. Mostly Superheroes Indie Podcast has a slate of upcoming titles, interviews, and topics ready for our listeners and fans, and you could reach our audiences. We have 30-second ads starting right now for as little as $100. Cheap ads, your brand, professionally recorded ad. Hear our voice, our crew record an ad in your style and make your brand heard on Mostly Superheroes. Find out more at mostlysuperheroes.com/sponsor. All right, back to the show.
The meat.
Welcome back from the break. This is Mostly Superheroes, still here in the studio with my nerdy friends, Scotty Scoop and Sam, the DM.
Ow, ow.
We are here to talk about, I want to do this in 2 parts, Sam, just like we did last time. I want to talk about your event on August 4th at City Winery, St. Louis. You can get your tickets to have a live Dungeons & Dragons brunch hosted by Sam, the DM, 3 of his very good improv friends that have been building characters in their live shows over the last couple years, I guess it is now. And we're hearing about all the fun that comes with these. So I want to do it in 2 parts. Talk about the event that's coming up, and then we'll go like what's coming next for Sam. So sticking on the event right now, man. What's in your head for this? This is coming up, just a couple weeks. You're on the countdown.
Oh, for sure.
What's the same? What's different? I think it's kind of fun.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to this one. So the great thing about all of these events is that I get to write a different adventure for every one of these shows. So it's not like going to see a band where they're going to play a set of the same songs that you know about, because D&D is a storytelling game, and it has to be engaging not only for the players on the stage whose characters are traveling through this narrative, but also for the audience that's watching it. Every single one of these shows has a different story. It's a different narrative with different stakes, different enemies, different battles to fight, different, allies to work alongside with. And so I'll be doing, silly voices and giving elaborate descriptions of everything going on. We've also worked on getting some music and some lighting cues and stuff in there. The folks at City Winery are very lovely in working with us to try to make the show as engaging as possible. And yeah, there's audience participation. We have several different mechanics, whether it's just like calling out suggestions like at a regular improv show, or allowing the audience to literally roll dice to affect to like randomly decide what enemy they're going to be fighting in a certain chamber, or what artifact they might locate. And then also giving the audience the opportunity to give our players advantage. So a lot of D&D comes down to rolling dice, and we give the audience these little tokens that allow our players to like re-roll a bad attack roll or a skill check. So this is, it's like going to see an action movie or, a TV show. You get to watch a wonderful live narrative take shape right in front of your eyes. The players don't know what I've got in store for them, and I don't know how they're going to respond to it. And you as an audience member not only get to watch this all unfold with some hilarious comedians, but also you get to take part. You get to shape the story. Does the fighter fall off that cliff, or do you use your token to make sure that they get to roll their dice again and maybe save them from ultimate disaster? What kind of horrible monster are they going to find in the next room? Maybe someone from the audience rolls a dice and I choose from a long list of available options. So even I don't know, what shape the adventure might take. So there's a lot of variability. No two of these shows are ever the same. So if you've come to ones previously, you're going to get a brand new story this time. And if you've never showed up before, we give a pretty, a very quick, basic explanation of how D&D works at the start of the show. And this kind of stuff it's very approachable. And if you've never played this game before and don't know anything about it, you still get to see like a funny live comedy performance that just happens to be based around, this silly little board game. So there's stuff there for everyone. It's all ages, adults and kids can come out. And August 4th at the City Winery, I hope to see you all there.
August 4th, that's right, City Winery, St. Louis, and right now I'm gonna do a little role playing myself, but it's the true me. Okay, I'm the guy that is not a lifelong Dungeons and Dragons fan. I have talked to you about this. We stressed the last time you were here that this is for both parties.
Mm-hmm.
If you like live theater,
yep,
you're gonna be fine, and if you're a D&D fan, you're gonna have the best day of your freaking life. Like, all right, like there's no joking about it. Like you're gonna be like, oh my god, you're gonna be like hitting your friends like they're doing it, they're playing my game. Like
yeah.
I'm jealous because I'm the guy that's like, I feel like I'm not the cool kid trying to hang out with the cool kids. Sam and his crew do a great job making it so inclusive, very, very approachable. You use that word, it's exactly right. And if you like live theater, that's exactly what I went through when I went and saw this. The brunch was awesome, the venue's cool, but it is live theater. The light crew did an amazing job with the transition scenes.
That was really good.
Hearing that there's gonna be music and stuff, that's so cool. And then you absolutely are hoping that you get to roll those dice, to roll the die and help or play a card to affect it. So that's the non D&D person just having a really fun. I had a really fun Sunday morning. That could be you on August 4th if you have an hour and a half, 2 hours to go have some really good brunch and watch some live theater. I think it's probably something you get behind. Scotty Scoop, what do you got? What questions do you have about your third time seeing Sam do this?
Yeah, I mean, I feel a little spoiled. It's a good time. The Sunken City. What is there anything you can tell us about what's going on?
Oh, for sure.
Here?
So the
Teases.
Like maybe an Atlantis situation.
so the byline is there is a not byline, the
Synopsis.
yeah,
Give me a little plot.
Yeah, what was I looking for with byline?
Byline.
That's not even
Your Lois
appropriate.
Lane.
Jesus. Yeah, the synopsis is there is a city called Punce, and this city has overnight been completely swamped with floodwaters that have taken this bustling city in a deep valley and completely submerged it. There are nasty little fish creatures swimming around, menacing the people of the city, and our players, the Queen's Guard, champions of the realm, who get, assigned to take care of problems like this. It seems like just about every time I get a show at City Winery, they are going to go investigate and see what the cause of all this water is, battle some of these sea creatures, rescue the town if they can, or, fall to ruin. We'll see.
I feel like we always do a good job. I feel like your question is very leading for me as a D&D fan that might be on the fence about going to your event. We spoke a lot last time you were here to the people that don't know a lot. So let's focus more on the D&D fan. I know some D&D people here locally. Like maybe they're thinking like, what hooks that fan in? You wanted to know a little bit more about the story. How much do you give away up front that you don't mind teasing out? That seems to be an important part. Like maybe if I tell my other D&D friends like, well, you got this Sunken City thing going on.
Well, I mean, if you're going to play the game, you might not want to know. But if you're going to see a show,
you might want to know a little bit.
You might want to know, the Sunken City. Like, what am I getting into?
You don't want too many details.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same with everything else. You don't want spoilers.
Yeah, you don't want to see too much in the trailer.
Yeah. But I think with a show like this, if you are a D&D fan, I think the basic promise of watching adventurers in a fantasy setting gallivant around and having, their success or failure be dictated by dice rolls is, the main draw. You want to see how other tables do it, how other DMs run things. And honestly, like the reaction from the crowds for these shows has been amazing. A lot of very lovely people show up to these shows and they're cheering all the, critical hits. They're booing all the bad rolls. They're really, really embracing the tone and the tension of the narrative in very lovely ways, and they're eager to help out the players when they can, when I'm really coming down hard on them. So the level of engagement with the audience has been a lovely part about this whole thing that I'm so blessed that I get to do. The use of D&D as like live entertainment is a fairly new thing, and there are far bigger, far wealthier, far more successful creators and companies out there that are doing stuff like this all the time. That's the funny thing to me, is that I'm now seeing in my feeds, like there's an organization, I think in New York City, that does like a huge, large scale live D&D events, like the some tavern or something.
Yeah, I have seen that. Yeah, for sure.
I think some of I saw a thing for Alamo Draft House in New York City. They now do like a Dungeons and Drafts thing. So seeing this sort of this form of entertainment expand is very it's a lovely thing that sort of proves to me how viable this is in general, because there's large interests getting involved in it to make some money.
What's that mean to you fans? It's time.
Yeah, for sure.
It's time, and they're big players, but it also means big hands getting involved with anything.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just like being a comic book fan.
It's the same,
and then you're like,
yep.
Whoa, Disney just bought Marvel.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's this mean?
Holy shit, that means I'm going to get to see the stuff that was only on the book, or only in my head,
watered down,
come to life.
A little watered down.
Yeah, for sure.
A little watered down.
If you don't mind,
sometimes.
If you don't mind,
homogenized, if you will.
But at least it's everywhere.
Yeah.
God, that's peanut butter. God, just spread it out. All right. Well, but it's time. it's just like comic book fans do feel. Like
Yeah.
when Iron Man came out, it was like it's time. And I feel like events like what you're doing, Sam, and you do services. Are you still doing the services for running as a DM?
Oh, absolutely.
You're
yeah.
still getting
So,
booked privately, right? Like there's a private service you offer.
for sure.
Just kind of selling through the price tag of this ticket. Like if you're a D&D player, not only you get to go experience it, but like if you're like me when I'm watching Marvel movies, I'm taking notes. Like this is a high value like thing of like this guy knows how to run D&D like a professional, but you're doing it privately. Let's talk about that for a minute.
Sure. So if you go to samthedm.com, you can find how to contact me. And yeah, it's this has been, I mean, frankly, this past year has been a great year for me as a small business owner, as someone in St. Louis that is trying to share their passion, their skill set with the St. Louis market. And there have been plenty of amazing and wonderful nerds that have hired me. But yeah, so not only do I do live shows, places like Heavy Anchor and City Winery, where you can come watch me put on, a D&D campaign live. But I also make a podcast, Challenge Rating 0, so you can, more passively in the comfort of your own home or car, listen to some of my D&D content. It's a long-form, actual play podcast with my closest friends that we've been making for the past 5 years or so. There's plenty to binge out there. But yeah, I'm also, and sort of the core of this whole thing is I'm available for hire. I make house calls. If anyone out there has never played D&D before and you'd like to, if you don't know anything about the game, but you keep seeing all these posts and mentions about it and you just want to get into it, you don't have to buy the rule book. You don't have to learn all of the rules. You don't have to get anything. You can hire me, Sam the DM. I pull up in the Dragon Wagon, my work truck.
It's out there right now. It's awesome.
I pull up in the Dragon Wagon with, trunks full of pre-made character sheets with all the information and stats on them, with dice, with maps, miniatures. Even if you and your group have been playing Dungeons and Dragons for decades, I have had the very unique privilege of investing very heavily in this pastime, so I might have some gear that even you and your crew don't have, and we'll get to play with. Like, have you ever fought a Tarrasque? If you and your group wants a level 21 shot, you can hire me to come out. I will bring the toughest, most terrible monsters you've ever seen and kick y'all's asses for a while. If you've never played this game before and you want a level 1 adventure for a couple hours just to try it out or just to mix things up with your friend group. If you too many movie nights, too many board game nights, you want something a little different, something a little more engaging, a little more fun, you hire me. I show up with pre-made characters and run you through an adventure. So yeah, I'm with the live shows, with the podcast, with the private events that you can hire me for, and also with this wonderful book, The Cobra Express, that I've published. Available at Gen Con and then online at Space Penguin Inc.
You're working out here, man.
Yeah,
You're working.
I've been blowing up, and I'm trying to hit every possible angle on the D&D market.
D&D entrepreneur.
Indeed. What I like to say at my shows is that I am the premier professional practitioner of all things Dungeons and Dragons in our fair city of St. Louis.
Hell yeah. What are you thinking over there, lifer?
This is exciting.
This guy. I wish he had my energy sometimes.
I
wish you were me sometimes. Okay.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Have you been to Dirty 20 yet?
I have been to Dirty 20.
Yeah, tell me about it.
It is it's a lovely bar. It's a huge space out in
it's in Baldwin.
Baldwin, yeah. So it's unfortunately
Missouri.
a little far from me
Little
I
out
live,
there for you.
I live in South City,
maybe
so
3 or 4 miles up the road from me, and
nice.
I was waiting for a long time for it to open, and I hadn't really heard a lot about it.
I thought maybe they called you or something.
They did. They actually did reach out to try to schedule some sort of event. So we're still, talking about that, which is lovely. But yeah, it is a bar and restaurant that is specifically gamer themed, tabletop gaming themed. It's called Dirty 20. Those that don't know, when you're rolling dice in Dungeons and Dragons, if you roll a 20-sided dice and you end up getting the number 20 with your various bonuses, but you don't get
An
20 on the actual
20.
dice, it's called a Dirty 20. But yeah, it's a D&D bar.
I didn't know. Thank
and
you.
it's And it's great. They have a huge amount of space in there, plenty of tables.
Used to be a Hot Shots.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you talk about making it into like the mainstream. This is like a local business, like opening like in a neighborhood, like making a bet. Like, come on in.
Absolutely. So yeah, they're putting on like Warhammer and Magic the Gathering nights. They're having like Critical Role watch parties and stuff.
It's time. If you live in St. Louis and you're a Dungeons and Dragons
Now's
fan,
the time.
it's time.
Yeah.
Strike while the iron is hot.
See, I'm still talking to them about possibly doing some events up there. But yeah, I mean, as they have excellent mac and cheese. I can say that.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, the food's great. They got a full bar. I think they just untangle all the stuff with their liquor license.
As it goes in St. Louis.
Yeah. But if you want to get some food and drinks with your friends at a place that is specifically catering to a D&D crowd, I would say check out Dirty 20. Nice people up there.
Yeah, sweet.
Maybe we'll all see you there. I mean, it sounds like a team up. We could all go sometime. All right. Going back to the event, City Winery, St. Louis, August 4th, Bubbles and Bards, the Sunken City, a live D&D brunch hosted by Sam the DM, and we have 2 tickets. Scotty's going, and we're giving away 2 tickets. You can win these. If you don't win them, Scotty gets to take 2 more friends, and I might end up going again.
Come, please.
Last time I was like, oh, you got to go, and we're giving a fan a ticket, and then we had 1 fan back out last minute, and I got to go.
Oh, nice.
I don't want that to happen this time, though. I want to send a Dungeons and Dragons fan. This is the clip for Instagram. Listen, Instagram. You want I'm embracing my Maurice right now. You want these Dungeons and Dragons tickets.
You're going to have to come with more energy if you're going to be Maurice.
Dungeons and Dragons brunch. What do you
Listen, motherfucker. You want to come and see Dungeons and Dragons? You show up to the fucking City Winery at August 4th at 11 a.m. and you watch these guys go through the fucking sunken city and save the fucking monarchy.
Brunch
I'm
at D&D.
gonna-
Thanks, Maurice.
I'm going to hire you guys to just follow me around and scream like that. That's good stuff.
It'll work. It works.
Carrie's probably freaking out upstairs.
Oh, that's what happened last time. She said the cat jumped when Maurice was here.
Hell yeah.
That's what we need in this house. But you can win those. We're going to get this out right away because it says right around the corner. mostlysuperheroes.com/contests. Enter to win those 2 tickets to the brunch. And what's next, man? Last time we talked about, maybe you shoot it like a TV series one day. Maybe a movie.
I'm looking for a couple more books.
You've already got a book out. You were published now. where's your head going?
Like, now
What
you
can
know
you
how
share
it's
with
done.
us? Not to be like the end of the interview type.
for sure.
What next question kind of drives me nuts, just so you know. You don't always have to answer that. But what are you thinking about? What are you willing to share with us?
No, that's a perfectly fair question. I'm trying to expand this side of my life, as much fun as I'm having and as just incredibly fortunate and as I've been with the amount of success I've had with the D&D stuff, I still have a full-time job. I'm still working the day job and squeezing this in with everything else.
I didn't know.
Which is why I don't have any time to do anything or see anybody.
Yeah.
So the hope is that I can keep working, hopefully do more live shows at more venues around town. SamTheDM.com if anybody out there has a venue wants to reach out.
Thanks for being here.
Oh, of course.
Oh my God.
Thank you. You guys are great. Yeah.
Dude, you got like full-time gig plus all this. This is all a full-time gig.
Yeah. It's a lot.
Working 2 jobs.
So the hope is that I can get more live shows on the calendar, which would be great. Get out there and see more people face to face, and work on some more of these books. I'm talking to the folks at Space Penguin, so there might be some more modules coming out. This was a hell of a lot of fun to make, and sort of the fulfillment of a lifelong dream I've had to be a published author. So I'm definitely going to keep on with this and keep putting words on paper and see where that goes. But yeah, I mean, pie in the sky. Do this full time, pay my bills with this. Maybe go on tour, do some live shows, around this fine country of ours. But we'll see where it all goes.
Dude, hell yeah.
There's a market.
There's a market, obviously.
As it turns out.
Big players, up top are making bets. Local places, the mainstream, the rules are, the timing of all that. None of it is by accident. There's definitely a lot at stake here, and I think anybody that's been a lifelong fan of Dungeons and Dragons it's no mystery. So, I think we can't say it enough. Like, it's time, man. And I'll just pitch you real quick with one sentence. Mostly Superheroes combines with Sam the DM for a Dungeons & Dragons event.
I will run a game for you guys on mic, on camera, whenever you want.
And, like, that's cool. I love to bring that to, like, the fans. But, like, people living here locally, we are huge on the in-person events. So, like, bringing people to a physical thing to do something that, gets, like you said, getting out and meeting the community. I think there's no better way to grow.
Sure.
Like you actually get to authentically meet the folks. And I don't know, like one Marvel fan to another. I know what that feels like. I'm sure you guys have the same camaraderie with your D&Ders. Like I know people that we need to connect. So let's make something happen. But yeah, we have talked about like on the pod. What do you envision for something like that?
There's nothing that gets the creative juices flowing like rolling up a character.
It's
Absolutely.
like improv story
Like,
time. Let's go.
Well, my podcast Challenge Rating 0 is literally just an actual play podcast. It is such a ubiquitous thing these days that the barrier to get into podcasting at the entry level is almost non-existent. You find some old microphones and stuff. So many D&D groups out there just record their play because it is a storytelling game. It lends itself very well to the medium of podcasting. You're all making up all the special effects in your head around the table anyway, so just project that in other people's minds. But yeah, it could literally be I help you guys make some character sheets, except Scott, he's going to be fine, but I help you two make some characters, and we sit here and
We could do homework too.
Tell you a story, and you guys run through an adventure. Or if you want to hook up some cameras and stuff, we could be at a table, and I could bring my miniatures and my maps, and we could move some stuff around and get into it. But that's
Could we do it on this table if we cleared it?
We couldn't put maps and minis on this table, but we could tell a story at this table for sure.
Yeah.
I like people at home to picture how little the table is and how close we all are.
Basically sitting in each other's laps here.
All right, totally in for that. So like an actual D&D one shot on the podcast. We teased it out at last time you were here. Now this is it really coming together in real time.
You just got to figure out what kind of characters you want to make. I'm fascinated.
All right, I'm
so curious what you make for that. Are you the kind of guy that makes his own character, or do you read the room first? Do you go around the table first?
No, I will start thinking about this weeks in advance.
Sure.
That's how I will be too. Like, and I've done some acting, not since high school or college, but I could bring something to a character and put some thought into like what it is, some backstory, so we can get really into it. Okay, so I did have a question before we start to get into the end here and doing coming up. Who inspires you in the work and the culture of D&D? Are there podcasts or shows or things that have...
That is a very good question. That is a very, very good question. Because it is such a niche medium that has only really come into its own in the past 5 or 6 years or so. The first D&D podcast, I think the first podcast in general that I even started listening to is called The Adventure Zone. It's made by
just saw him. My brother and me were here just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, the McElroy brothers
gave us some tickets.
Big fan of the McElroy brothers. Love their content. But yeah, I started listening to The Adventure Zone, which is a Dungeons and Dragons actual play podcast that the McElroy brothers make with their dad. And listening to, I had been playing D&D for a decade or more at that point. But listening to these guys play, the way they put their story together, and just the way that this game can be utilized in the podcast medium was a huge inspiration to me. I think my friend Beth, who's on Challenge Rating 0, is one of the players, recommended the show. And after we both started getting into it, she was like, "We should make our own." And I was like, "Well, okay, let me figure out how that's gonna work." So I learned how to edit audio and took some classes and stuff, and here we are, 100-something episodes later with my show. But yeah, the McElroy brothers and The Adventure Zone was a huge inspiration. And then I get a lot of inspiration from my friends. Thankfully, I am blessed with very creative nerd friends. The players I have at my table have told with me, before I even thought about microphones, some of the most engaging and thoughtful and touching stories that I've ever seen or heard. They're original, they're organic, they come up in the moment, and these turns where, there's a unforeseen betrayal or a impassioned speech before the enemy army. These beautiful vignettes that can only come from the unhinged mind of an absolute nerd when they are feeling every emotion possible. It's it's a beautiful thing. So I get a lot of inspiration from my friends and players, who constantly surprise me with their heroism and their humor. That's a big part of it too.
Wow, fair share, man. That's nice.
Thank you.
Anything that inspires us and makes us feel those vibes of creativity and just good feelings, that's nice.
Yeah, it's community, and I think that's maybe one of the most important parts of the game at this point. In the history of of pop culture, I think having something that enforces collaborative storytelling, cooperation, teamwork, even just like the nuts and bolts of navigating group dynamics. If you're a dungeon master for a group of people, scheduling, tone, making sure everyone's having a good time, interpersonal relationships, you now have to see to all of that as unofficially, the leader of this group of people, and the amount of knowledge, the amount of practical skills you get, not only creatively but interpersonally, is you can't be measured. Yeah,
It's like not anyway. World building is it's actually building. It could build our better world.
Yeah, it all starts with imagination, and
you
gotta,
it's seeing
hope
how
for something better.
Looking at something and going I like how that works. That's culture coming through and being fed. And dude, I totally hear you, man. I think when you explained Dungeons and Dragons the first couple times you were on here, a lot of times my response was, "Oh, just like real life. You should treat people with respect.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
show up on time and treat
what I say to this character might affect me later.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe I should watch myself.
Yeah.
Ooh, a little.
Absolutely.
Oh my, forethought.
Yeah.
D&D teaches forethought. Who doesn't need to be? Oh my gosh, I need that more than anything. All right, if you want all those life lessons and a good ass time, Bubbles and Bards,
Come to the show.
Come to the show. You'll see Scotty Scoop there, maybe some more, and you could win 2 tickets at mostlysuperheroes.com. Go get your tickets right now. Don't wait. City Winery, St. Louis, August 4th. Sam the DM is back again with more live brunch D&D. Let's talk about what's coming up. We are also feeling very lucky. We have had a really strong year in terms of the connections we've made, the interviews we have, the topics that we're getting to bring to the table, and we have a whole slew of things coming up. I think You Should Leave episode, you can watch that on Netflix. Tim Robinson, hilarious dude, a hilarious sketch TV show. We're going to be bringing it to the podcast. We're still going to be talking about the ultimate universe in the Marvel Comics world. Deadpool and Wolverine's coming up, and this is really leading to an episode it's probably a few months out. Our Marvel episode. If you saw what we did with Star Wars, just like we do, anytime we bring something to the podcast, we take it very seriously. We do a lot of due diligent research, and we basically try to explain the things that we love on this podcast. And I feel like it's such an interesting thing to explain the fandoms that you love and the things that you like. How do you articulate what's so amazing about a Marvel movie? And we've talked about every Marvel movie on this podcast, I'm proud to say. And Scotty's been reading these comics for how many years now? Scotty?
1988.
How many do you own?
So that's 36 years. 'Cause
almost
I was born in 1988.
Almost 5,000 comic books, and I've got probably about 400 graphic novels.
Andy's a professional watcher. 2 TVs in his living room. Does he have marital problems? Yes. Does he have money problems? Yes. Are other parts of his life falling apart? But the knowledge he has about Marvel movies and the Marvel Universe and the MCU, we're going to bring it all to the podcast again. We're a little bit out from this, but we're teasing it because we want our real Marvel fans to hear this and know that.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. We cannot wait to show you what we know about Marvel. The Old Bakery Beer Company in Alton, Illinois. This is just about 45 minutes north of here. It's a beautiful town. I actually proposed to my fiance Carrie up there, and it's just gorgeous right there on the river. And on the river is a place called the Old Bakery Beer Company. I've been there. They have great food, great beer, and the co-owner of the location, is coming onto the podcast, Lauren Patton, to tell us about, they have a couple things coming up that make us immediate friends, an MCU trivia night on July 31st. If you're seeing this before then, go check it out. And on August 17th, Nerd Market, 11:30 to 3:30, artisans selling their nerdy products inspired by sci-fi, fantasy, video games, and table games. You can learn more at Old Bakery Beer Company. Check that out, and they're hosting a nerd market. So obviously we got to hear about this from Lauren, and we'll talk about what you can expect from that fun event. I know it's been a while since we've talked about the Voltron beer. Bizaire. That's a typo. Four Hands Voltron beer on the table. It's been a while. There are 2 volumes left. 4 volumes have come out. There are there's a huge party coming up at Four Hands that we've been invited to, and we're going to do a big countdown to these last 2 releases. So the volume 5 just came out. There's going to be a volume 6 and the 7th one, which will be all the Voltron Lions coming together for one beer. This is an ultimate collection. The cans are beautiful. We've got them here in the studio, and you can watch for that episode coming up.
I gotta say, if that last can is not a tall boy,
you're gonna be upset.
I might be a little upset.
We said it from day one.
It's got to be bigger.
The CEO Kevin Limp came on and told us when they launched it. We called it. Hopefully, we'll be right. We'll see. Tim Convey, comedian, also from the band Ludo. He's coming on the podcast, and we can't wait to have him. That's just coming up in a couple weeks. The screen and socials on July 28th. See Deadpool Wolverine with us. All the details are at mostlysuperheroes.com.
Brag about it. See Deadpool Wolverine and brag about it because of charity.
Because of charity, man. How about the pod?
Huntington's disease. We want to help.
HDSA, they are on the hunt for the cure. Let's help them do it by seeing Deadpool and Wolverine.
Don't even tell your friends you're going to see Deadpool and Wolverine that morning. Tell them you're going to a charity
Yes,
function.
A charity event.
Bring your whole family to the charity function.
You're just reminding me also, Sam, why this might become like a monthly thing.
You gotta sell it, you know? You gotta sell it.
All right, we tried to help you convince people to go to your event. How would you help us convince people to go to this event? One last pitch. Here we go. Screen and social.
Not only are you supporting a local DIY podcast, which is the trendiest thing you could possibly fucking do in these times, but you're also going to unironically enjoy, Ryan Reynolds and help me out. What's the other guy's name?
Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman.
I'll cut out the part where he helped you.
Just cut people to shreds, and you get to do it completely guilt-free. It's not like, oh, I have to drop my kids off so I can go see this movie, or oh, I have to spend less time, pursuing creative works to this movie. No, I'm going to help a charitable organization. I'm going to help kick Huntington's ass while going to see Deadpool, just like Wolverine and Deadpool might if they had the opportunity.
That's right.
Thank you for that. We need that. We need people to hype. We got to do all of our own hyping usually. Thank you.
Oh, I could sell what's that line from Tommy Boy? I could sell a ketchup popsicle to a woman in white gloves.
Good job, guys. You just made me. I'm going to watch that as soon as we get done. I'm watching that tonight.
Tommy likey wingies.
Oh boy. It doesn't hurt here or here so much, but right here. Anyway, sorry.
What did you do?
All right,
for
Scotty.
the old heads out there.
Scotty, give us a final sign off, and I know you had a lot of fun today. Say your final goodbye to Sam and me and the squad.
Sam.
Am I dying? Final goodbye. What the fuck?
It's always a final.
Is this a
just in
film?
case.
The door
just
is
in case.
behind here?
The door has been locked.
Carry now.
Jesus.
Bring out the Iron Man gimp suit. It is over for you, my friend. No, this was a great time. I love talking D&D. D&D has been a little dry in my life lately. Some of my mates have been having children, and that how that can screw up the scheduling.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm excited to get some in on August 4th.
We're feeding the need.
That's right, some waffles,
Literally feeding.
and some death.
Yes. All right, Sam. How about you, man? Final plugs. Where can people find you? And just any final thing you want to say to a listener that has showed up and hung out with you this whole time.
I would like to say that I am Sam the DM, St. Louis's premier professional practitioner of all things Dungeons & Dragons here in our fair city of St. Louis. If you'd like to contact me for an event, be you a individual or a venue, you can go to samthedm.com. I am available for hire. I make house calls. And buy my book, The Cobra Express, available at Space Penguin Inc., launching at Gen Con at their booth, and also available for sale online at spacepenguininc.com in August. Thank you very much.
Get some merch.
So many plugs.
Thanks to our sponsors, Team Jakey in the Stigma and the Gramophone. Go sponsor an indie podcast. Listen to us on YouTube, Spotify. We're on Twitch. We're on TikTok. We're on X. We're on all of it. Go check it out at mostlysuperheroes.com.
Trovo
Trovo is still happening. We're here in St. Louis, and we can't wait to see you next time. Thanks for tuning in. This is Mostly Superheroes. Take it easy. Bye.
Bye.
Mostly Superheroes is proud to be funded in part by our sponsors. Mostly Superheroes is funded in part by paying patrons who receive early, ad-free, and exclusive episodes. Subscribe at mostlysuperheroes.com/support. Thank you for supporting your favorite independent podcast. Mostly Superheroes is an independent podcast owned and operated by Kerrigan Ventures in St. Louis, Missouri. Hosted by Logan Janis, Andy Hunn, and Scott Swearingen. Brand and creative by Carrie Clark Design. Music by Audionautics. Learn more at audionautics.com. Find more at mostlysuperheroes.com.